Hi everyone, so this is Agnish Bhaduri. Picking up from our previous video where we saw how a Bitcoin works under a simple life example. Now we're going to look at how the workflow is behind the hood, right? So let's move on. Let's take a sample case again. Let's say that A and B want to exchange money. A wants to send $900. And I'm assuming for the purpose of this particular video that Bitcoin is 900, although we know it changes every second. So it had gone up to 1300, at a high of 1300. So let's see if we can touch those figures again. But for the purpose of this video, essentially what I want to say is that A is trying to transfer one Bitcoin to B, which is approximately $900 right now. And A has $1,000 in his account. So he has the required balance. And both A and B have Bitcoin wallets. So these are the assumptions that we are functioning with for the purpose of this use case. So let's go ahead. So there's A and B and there's a huge gap, and let's say they're across different countries. So how do they send the money? So first A needs to get a laptop or a mobile device and needs to purchase a Bitcoin wallet. So what he will do is he will purchase Bitcoins by converting US dollars into Bitcoins at a very minimum conversion charge, and buy Bitcoins. Once he has Bitcoins in his wallet, what he needs to do is he needs to know B's address, and he needs to simply broadcast a message saying that he is sending out a Bitcoin to B. Now this proposed transaction that A is sending out is going to go out in form of a proposed block, or in this case represented by this black puzzle piece. Now the Bitcoin network, like we saw in the previous example, the bar example, will consist of many people, and all of these people are going to have their local versions of all the transactions that have ever taken place. So what A is essentially doing is broadcasting to the entire network that he wants to send a Bitcoin to B. Now what do these other miners have to verify? Now so these other people in the network, they'll be called miners, M-I-N-E-R-S, and we'll look into this process in detail in another video of how to do the mining. But essentially they will try to verify whether A really has the required amount of money to send to B. So in this block, what we are going to have are the following details. We'll have A's address, B's address, and the amount of Bitcoins being transferred. However, if you remember in the previous video, we said that the identities were public to everyone. Now that doesn't happen in the actual Bitcoin transaction. They use a process called hash cryptography to mask identities. So the only thing that these other people in the network will understand is, so here we represent other people in the network. So the only information that they will receive is an alphanumeric code is sending one Bitcoin to another alphanumeric code. Now how do they verify? What do they actually do to verify this transaction? They are going to use several complex mathematical algorithms and formulae to decode exactly who alphanumeric code 1 is and who alphanumeric code 2 is. So they will understand that A is sending money to B. The first one to verify this gets a Bitcoin in reward for their functions. Now again, identities of A and B are not actually going to be public. We will go into the details of hash cryptography in a different video, but let's say for now A has a private identity which is also an alphanumeric code, and the identity sends out for the purpose of that transaction is also another alphanumeric code. So when these people verify that the alphanumeric code within this particular block belongs to A or not, they will just verify whether it belongs to his private alphanumeric code or not. It is a very complex process, and that's why it's very difficult to become a miner, but we will really deep dive into this in another video. So for this purpose, let's just say that this particular block needs to get approved. So once a majority of people, in this case 75%, approve it, then the transaction gets approved, and the minimum criteria required is 51% approval. So majority of the people have to approve that transaction, and then it will get added to the previous transactions that A and B have conducted, or A has conducted. And then the money, once approved, is going to get sent to B. So to sum up the entire process, again, in simple terms, is A broadcasts a message that he's sending a Bitcoin to the entire network. Once it goes to the entire network, at the moment people don't understand whether it is a valid transaction or not. It then gets verified using the process of mining, which uses a hash cryptography and several mathematically complex formulas and algorithms. Once the transaction is verified and everyone verifies that A has the required amount of money to send to B, that new transaction gets added. They will also verify whether it is actually A sending that money to B. And then once the transaction is verified and it is authorized, it gets added to the previous block of transactions and the money is received by B. Let's look at the salient features of this workflow in the next video. Thank you.